So I just wanted to talk about the power of just having like a 2 to 3 year intense push. Um, this is for, I mean, a lot of my audience, not all of my audience is like young men like myself, but I just have a special place in my heart for young guys, and that's who this is for in particular. Um, I went through an insane transformation. I mean, I literally went from like the most effeminate, weak, insecure, shy, unresolved, maybe not shy, but awkward and broke kid. And I went from that person to today at 22 years old. I would say it was about 18 years old to 22 years old, where I've married my dream woman. So I've got a wife that respects me, that loves me, takes care of the details in my life so I can focus on my mission. Um, like dude, not to be TMI, but our romance is amazing. Uh, our spiritual walk together is incredible. I have a business, right? That's put like $1.5 million in the bank for me. Um, I can travel. I've got free time, and so this transformation is just, I was just reflecting this morning because I'm gonna be honest. I'm going through a lot of trial right now in the business. Um, and I love the James Allen quote that he who conquers fear conquers failure. So failure is actually a byproduct of your fear. And so fear is a choice. And when you're in a state of fear, fear actually pulls from your abundance. It pulls you down from abundance into scarcity. So fear is actually a choice. You could choose not to be afraid. And then all of a sudden all these solutions start coming up, which is what's happening. But anyway, there for a minute I was in a lot of fear, and I just was like, screw this. Like, I'm actually just going to let go of that feeling and tune into a different frequency, right? And all of a sudden, boom, all these solutions and opportunities started popping up. Like today, I've got a consult call with a strong verbal for my first $50,000 agreement. And I can share more about what that is in another video if you guys wanted me to. Um, so I don't know, guys. Let me just do this for you. So you know what? Actually, let me add more images. So I posted this on my Instagram today, and I just got like a crazy influx of messages of people being like, this is super inspiring. Like I want to be like this. I want to have a similar transformation. And I just wanted to talk about like how to create a transformation like this. Like, this is me in 2017. It's my buddy. He was actually in my wedding. Um, and I was just filming content. Like, all I knew was Gary V film content. I wrote here on my Instagram, and I'm skipping a few frames here because, like, if you want the full thing, you just go to my Instagram because I'll probably upload this same day. But I was secretly intensely bitter about the doubt thrown my way, but didn't know how to use that energy and grew up sort of cozy and effeminate. And this is key, guys. Like I don't really talk that much about like where I came from or anything because for a long time it's actually like devalued my authority, which is an interesting thing because I grew up in like a household where my parents were like pretty successful. And so not like I don't they've never been liquid millionaires, but they have the perception of having been them. As far as I'm aware, they haven't been. I don't know their finances exactly. Um, and so because of that, you can look at this face, just look at the different faces. You know what I mean? And so when I would face problems, guess who would solve them? It wouldn't be me. And so I had a really nice support structure underneath me. And so I had to actually, from a bottom up level, create a higher standard for myself than um, leaning on my parents' coattails. You know what I mean? And this is not to discredit them at all. I don't think I'd be here without them. They're spiritual mentors for me. But for the business, like I've just done my own thing. And so August 2019, crossed $100,000 in total sales. So there was about a 2-year span here. And this was just where I put my head down. I didn't come up for air, like at all. And so I was 17 in this picture, 17, 17, 22, 22. I'll be 23 on November 16th. And I don't know, man. This right here, this season is what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about what you need to be thinking about in this part of your journey, in this part of your, I've heard it called the Rocky montage. And I'm not even about to. I am entering back into one because I got here and then I got married. I found a girl that I'm really attracted to. I had a bunch of money in the bank. And so it's like it got really easy. I'm honest, I'm just going to be very transparent. I got very cozy. And that cost me. And it cost me opportunities. But I don't believe in regrets. I chose to be cozy, and that's what I chose to do. And so um, I really enjoyed it. It was great. Like money just flew into my account. I barely had to work for it. Like I'd wake up and the bank would have like an extra 10 grand in it. And I would just be like, all right, sweet. Like, let's just go, do whatever today. And that's what I built. Cause I spent this time, this section of my life. And I would say not even 2017 kicked in. I think this is actually right here. As you can see, this is 2019. This actually only took me about 6 months to achieve. So really my journey kicked off properly at 19. 2017, I was getting out of a breakup. I was getting a girl out of my life who didn't believe in me. And that affects you, man. It really does. And she had no reason to believe in me. Like I was this. And my parents, had this big old house and stuff. So like, I don't blame her at all, and we're on great terms. But I was getting her out of my life because I needed people who respected and saw what I saw, and nobody did. And how could they? Because this is what you were dealing with, right? I mean, look at that face. You just want to squeeze his cheeks. You know what I mean? So anyway, I want to talk about how to go through that Rocky montage season. Rocky montage. Okay. And look, I don't think I'm ever going to open up like a men's masculinity program or anything like that. This is just a topic that really inspires me. It really, really, really inspires me. I have nothing for sale in the masculinity realm. Okay. I'm not a men's coach or anything. You're not going to find links in the description to stuff like that. This is just somebody who's actually done the work talking about it. So how do you have a good Rocky montage season? Well, first of all, you need to dig deep. And honestly, you need to get angry. Anger is a powerful force. It is not a long burning fuse, but it works great for about 2 or 3 years. The challenge with anger is actually channeling it so that you don't become impulsive. So angry, but not so angry. You want to meet right up at this line that you don't become impulsive. Okay. So impulsivity will destroy your process, but you want to get angry. You want to get disgusted with who you see in the mirror. And this is very opposite to what our culture tells you. It says you're perfect as you are, says you're good, don't worry. And even being a Christian for me, a very popular one that I've had to very much contest in my lifetime is God made you this way. That is such a stupid worldview. God made you a body and he put you in a world. When you come out the womb, you're a blank slate. You can do whatever you want with that. He didn't make you a certain way. We have free will. We can make decisions. So dig deep, get angry. I would read the book Psycho-Cybernetics, because when I say dig deep, this book was one of the books that changed my life. I read it back in 2018, and it helped me realize that everything that I do is in alignment with my self-image. So we've got two wants in our life. We've got the conscious. So let me draw a little brain here. Let me draw a brain, an actual good-looking brain. Okay. So we've got the conscious wants and then the deep subconscious wants, the things that we say we want. Okay. You will always, always, always align with the wants of your subconscious. There's a quote from Carl Jung, and he says, until you make the subconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. And in this way, And what I mean to say by this is everybody has a concept of themselves deep in the back of their head. It's a collection of things that others have said to you along the way, ways that they've either encouraged you or slighted you. It's also a confirmation bias. So somebody can say, oh, I see so much in you, and I know you can do this. But because you're biased, because this poor self-image is so strong, you actually hear that, and then you say something like, oh, but they don't see all of me. They wouldn't say that if they knew this about me, which was me, because I had an intense pornography issue. So I had pornography invading my brain. And because of this, I had so much shame. Shame. And shame, of all the human conditions, shame is probably the deepest cut, especially for men. Shame is probably the deepest cutting sword. If you've ever heard of the concept of vibrations, like high vibrational thinking, low vibrational thinking, look it up. There's a book called Levels of Energy. I really enjoy this book. And shame is the lowest, one of the lowest forms of the human experience. And you tend to create in your life reflections of your thoughts and feelings. And if you're feeling shame all the time, if shame is where you're hanging out, which is where I used to hang out, shame for feeling unworthy of the things that I want, shame that I'd never achieved anything that I was really proud of, shame, and shame that I was addicted, literally properly addicted to pornography. I'll use that word. Some men refuse to use that word. If you don't label your problem, you can't solve it. Oh, the shame, and then it reflected in my life in poor resolves and poor results. So all around, I had very little going for me, and plus I was real cozy. You know what I mean? So I like driving my dad's Land Rover around. That's literally, so I was a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid, broke, driving my dad's LR4. That's what I had. And I'm not perfect now, but I've definitely done a lot. And one of the main things that helped me was shifting my self-image. I highly recommend this book. You should pick it up. You should read it. Every man should read it. Every person should read it. Man or woman should read this book. We actually have our students in our community read it. So the Consulting Blueprint is our primary flagship offer. We help people start and grow successful online coaching businesses in any niche. So package your existing expertise or find a niche with a need and solve it with coaching. Help students sell over $40 million worth of coaching online. It's a blast. It's freaking amazing stuff. It's really fun. And we have them all read that book. So I really recommend you read that book. So first is dig deep. Dig deep. Get angry. And read Psycho-Cybernetics. Okay? This is just my very candid advice. The next thing is tell no one. Tell no one. At least don't tell anybody that you're trying to prove wrong right now. Do not tell them what you are doing. Nobody cares what your plans are. Plans don't mean anything. Do not allow yourself to experience the short-term high of telling your plans. Because what will happen is it's like a dopamine hit. It's like a short-term reward for something that you actually haven't done. Because if you sound resolved enough and you sound confident enough about this thing, then people will celebrate with you, like, oh, what a good plan. And you'll get that respect in like an artificial sense that you might be looking for. So don't tell anybody. Pick 2 to 3 people max and tell them everything. People that are ahead of you, preferably ahead. So I found some mentors. I found some people online that I really admired. And I didn't even care if they responded. Literally, I just would DM them on Instagram. Sometimes they would respond, sometimes they wouldn't. These were dudes that were about like 2 years ahead of me in my journey and everything. And I was just like, look, this is what I did, this is what I did. And I would just get these voice notes back every now and again. And they meant the world. Because my dad wasn't going to give, I'm not going to slight him, but he's not going to understand where I'm at entirely. Nobody will, unless you have an intensely deep relationship with them, which I now have an incredible relationship with both of my parents. I bought my mom like 40 grand worth of jewelry. I've helped my dad with his business problem. He's helped me with mine. It's like a very mutually beneficial relationship. But don't tell anybody. Don't Like if you are a man and you've got a plan of what you're trying to achieve, telling somebody what you're trying to achieve actually significantly decreases the likelihood of you achieving it, because talking and sharing is such a short-term high. And I'm not going to use any names or anything, but like I know this person. He's close in my life. He is such a talker, man. Every time he's around me, he's telling me what he's gonna do, what he's thinking about doing, what he intends to do, what he wants to do, what he's learning more about, on and on. And it's honestly, it's at some point it gets pathetic. And it sounds terrible of me to say, but it's just pathetic, because it's like, you know what you have to do. So go put your head down and do it, and stop telling me that you have to do it. And so that's why I'm making this video, because a lot of men make this mistake. They go around telling everybody what their goals are. Tell. And I'll share some details, right? And I'll share, like, whatever, but I won't be like looking for praise when I'm doing it. I won't be like, oh, like, especially with people like your close peers, or if you have a spouse or a girlfriend or something like that, just tell them the high level and then get to freaking work, and then show them the results. Show them the results as you go along the way. Like, if this person in my life who I just described to you actually went out and did the things he said he's trying to do, or learning how to do, or reading books about doing, and studying and considering and thinking, then I would celebrate with him. But he's not doing that. He's just he's looking for my approval, and I don't have the heart to not give it to him, because I love this person. So every time he tells me what he's planning on doing, I'm like, oh, good for you. I'm excited for you. But it's been 3 years. You know what I mean? So stop telling people. Pick 2 to 3 people, preferably they're ahead of you, and maybe one that's beside you. And just tell them. If you want it to be me, it can be me. Tell me what you're up to on Instagram. I'm happy to hear. When you win, I will celebrate alongside you. I want to see my people winning. The next one is just put your head down and forget about results. Forget about, the wins. Forget about results for at least a minimum of 3 years, an absolute dead minimum of 3 years. If you really want to build something good, and you really want to achieve, like, whether it is, I'm talking mostly business here, but business reflects into all these other areas of your life. You can't just succeed in business. Like, you end up, as you're working on your business, being healthier, because it's impossible to show up every day without having a good, hygiene standard of keeping yourself healthy, because you'll burn the frick out like a year in, guaranteed. It's impossible to run a business without deepening your relationships, because in order to have a good team and good clients and everything, you need to get good with people. So, like, business really does expand out into all these other areas. And I see business as probably the best self-growth tool. It's like that Jim Rohn quote. And he says, why should you become a millionaire? Why should you try? Well, it's because of who it makes of you, the transformation from this person into this person. That's the most valuable thing you achieve, is who you become, not what you get. What you get is great, don't get me wrong. I love the money, I love what I've built and everything, but who I've become, I wouldn't trade that for the world, because I know I can go and do this again whenever I want, which is amazing. But anyway, give yourself at least 3 years, at least, minimum. If you're 25 right now, and you're saying, "Oh, I can't spend 3 years," what are you talking about, dude? You're 25. If you're 30 right now, same thing. Like, you're either going to spend 3 years doing something, or the 3 years are going to go by and you're going to have built nothing. And you just have to come to terms with that. Like, if you don't want to make this sacrifice right here, then don't complain when you don't get the reward. It's very simple. And yet I see all these people who, like, I don't know, man. When you put your timeline into 3 years, it actually gets you thinking properly. Like, a lot of people are living day to day to day to day. They're not saying, this is where I want to be in 3 years. Like, 3 years is a minimum if you want to build anything meaningful. Because otherwise you're living in these day tight compartments where, like, you can't even think ahead. You're just trying to pay your bills today. You're trying to solve the problems that come with today. You're trying to feel good today. So put your head down. Forget about the results. If you're growing, great. Do not slow down for 3 years. If you see the bank growing, awesome. If you see your body getting better, great. If you're attracting better relationships into your life, amazing. But don't slow down. Don't stop for at least 3 years. Mark the date on your calendar that you will then take a month-long break. And look forward to that break, because it will be in that month that you will taste the sweet fruit of your labor. But until then, do not slow down. Okay? And then the final thing, and this is critical as well. Just find mentors, man. Find mentors. I'm biased because we have a program where we do this, but I'm not selling it to you. If you wanted to go do real estate, go find a real estate mentor. If you wanted to go run an agency, go find an agency mentor. If you wanted to go do crypto, it doesn't matter. Just find somebody who's ahead of you. Drop your ego. One of the things that I remember saying to myself all the time is, oh, I already know how to do that. I already know what I need to know. I want to see if I can do it myself. This is such BS, because it's like if you know what you had to do, then you would already have it. Because it's not just the knowledge, it's having the right application of said knowledge. And you don't know what the application of that knowledge is unless you are learning from somebody who's ahead of you. So drop your freaking ego and find somebody who's done what you want to do, and either pay them or work for them, or just find somebody who's ahead. Find them and humble yourself. Gosh, I cannot tell you how much it means to me when somebody reaches out to me and is like, dude, like, you are where I want to be. Like, what should I do? And I'm like, I can tell that you're doing the work. I can tell that you're actually like serious about this change, and I want to help you have it. And not just me, I've got buddies who do $1 million a month, literally $1 million a month. I can call them and they'll pick up, and they're close friends. And they're the same way. When somebody actually humbles themselves and says, I don't know what I don't know right now. I'm not going to pretend like I have something that I don't. But they do it in a way where they're not like self-defeating. They're not like, oh, woe is me. It's more like, I'm empowered by reaching out to you. I'm self-empowered enough that I'm ready to get the help that I need, because I'm tired of living this way. And that's what I did. I remember sending that exact message to multiple people. I sent it to like 6 people that I was just following on the internet and stuff. And I was like, gosh, dude, like, I both envy and admire your success, and I want to learn from it. Like, what do you know that I don't know? And one of them, I had like maybe $2,500 in the bank, and he's like, pay me $2,000 and we'll work together for like a month. And I did it. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, it was literally just a call a week for a month. Did I get a direct return? No. But that sent me on a rabbit trail. He introduced me to another mentor, who introduced me to certain books, who introduced me to certain masterminds and groups. And so people, you have to understand, like, the beginning of all wisdom is knowing that you just don't know what you don't know. So find that mentor. Find that person. Goodness, come on. Find that person who is ahead of you. Find a mentor. Okay? Very few people are going to turn down money for their time. Very few people, unless they're working on something huge right now. Very few people are going to be like, no, I don't want your 2 or 5 or 10 grand. Very few people. And I've paid people who are even outside of my industry. So I've paid people who have like SaaS companies, basically software as a service companies. That's not what I do, but I want to learn from them. They're doing like 600 grand a month in automatic recurring payments. Like, what can I learn from this guy? There's obviously something I can learn. There's even people in my industry who sell what I sell. And I'm like, hey, can I learn from you? Like, the public eye would see them as competitors of mine, but I don't see them that way. I buy their stuff. I learn from them, and I grow. So hopefully this makes sense, guys. This is how you go through your 3-year Rocky montage. This is what you got to do. And I promise you, your life will never be the same again. Once you do this once you go through a 3-year Rocky montage once, you will feel capable of building anything your heart desires. Nothing will be out of reach for you. Absolutely nothing. But most people, they get about 6 months into that 3-year journey and they stop, or even a month in and they stop, or a year in and they stop, or they never start the journey, or they never admit that they're not happy with their life. It's like, are you depressed, or does your life just suck? And this is the reality of being a male. Like, people don't really actually care if you're depressed. Maybe your mom does. And it sucks. That sucks. That's a sucky message. But that's just the truth. Like, you have to pick yourself up. But I gotta tell you, picking yourself up is nowhere near as hard as people make it seem to be. You just do what I told you in this video. Find that mentor, humble yourself, commit at least 3 years. And my last piece of advice is 2 things, and this is where I'm going to get a little airy-fairy. Do not forget to laugh along the way. Laugh. Like, enjoy the process. Enjoy it. Have friends or people in your life or even those mentors and just enjoy it. Like, I've made some stupid mistakes and I could only laugh at them. That's all I could do. Otherwise, they would bring me back down to shame. And remember, shame is the lowest vibrational thought process we can have. So laughter is the antidote to shame. Laughter. And laughter is the antidote to all of these anxieties that are going to come up along your way. And so laugh. And otherwise, from laughing, my last piece of advice is just get excited. Because if you actually do these things, 3 years from now, you'll be somewhere that will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. You will look back and be like, holy cow, I did everything that I said I wanted to do. If you actually commit. And so now at the end of this video, you've got a decision. You can decide right now. Decide. Are you going to go through this 3-year journey? Or are you not going to? And if you've watched this whole video and you're not deciding to go through this 3-year journey, then what you're saying is that your standard is just to stay exactly where you are right now. And that's okay if it is, if that's your standard. Like, we get to pick what we want out of life. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But if you look around and you don't have the things that you want yet, you're not the man you want to be yet, and you're willing to settle for that, and you're willing to say, okay, that's chill, then okay. And in some ways, I respect you. In other ways, you need to be okay with watching people who do make this commitment fly past you. And you're going to need to live with that for the rest of your life. And me personally, I have a really hard time with that. I have a really hard time with that. Very competitive. So, yeah, that's what you got to do. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And that it meant something to you and that you're going to go do something about it. See you in the next one.